Lori and I get up about 6:30 in the morning, grab a cup of coffee, head out to the barn, walk through my birds, make sure everybody's healthy and happy over there. My name's Rob Martins. I'm a chicken farmer from Chilliwack, British Columbia.
My name is James Gunther, and I'm part of Jake's Poultry Farm, and I've been farming chickens all my life for 40 years. I love creating a perfect environment for my animals.
I'm Jack Van Drager. I just love farming. I just love being out here like this. I enjoy getting up in the morning and going to the barn. And one of the first barns I go to is this barn and see how these guys are doing.
I'm a second-generation farmer, and I've taken over this farm from my father. It's named Double D Farms after my wife and I, Danielle and Dan.
BC's 132 registered egg farmers raise almost 2.4 million hens each year, which in turn produce over 60 million dozen eggs for BC consumers. Eggs are one of Mother Nature's most nutritious foods, containing many of the essential nutrients and vitamins our bodies need for good health. Eggs are also about good taste. Poached, fried, scrambled, in an omelet or an egg salad sandwich, eggs are nutritious, versatile, economical, and delicious. As consumers, we rely on a stable, wholesome, and safe supply of eggs at a reasonable price.
Egg production is very important. Abbotsford is a leading egg producer in the province of British Columbia. The eggs they produce are top-notch. The consumers are very well served by the egg production that comes out of the city of Abbotsford.
I have the privilege of going around to a lot of different farms, and I don't think I've ever met a producer yet that does not care about the well-being of their hens. Farmers like animals. That's what we do. We're farmers. We care for our animals.
I consume those eggs every day, so I want to make sure for my own family, I have a young family, that those eggs are safe to consume, and I do my best for my family, and that extends to other families that consume my eggs as well.
There's basically 3 ways of housing chickens. The number one and most popular way in British Columbia is a caged facility. The birds are housed in cages in an enclosed barn. Then there's the free run systems. The birds are in a house, but they're able to run loose. And then there is the free range, which birds are kept housed for the evening, but in the morning the doors are opened and then they're allowed to walk out onto the range.
Here in British Columbia, 89% of all laying hens are raised in a conventional cage system, while the remaining 11% are raised in various flock management systems. Many specialty eggs also have various feed requirements, such as vegetarian, omega-3 enhanced, and vitamin enriched.
There's 2 things I believe that are very important to us as farmers and to consumers, and they are food safety and animal care. Our desire and our goal every day is to make sure that those birds are healthy and that they are very well cared for, because without that, we will have trouble with consumers in the food safety area, and we will have trouble being a sustainable farm.
I wouldn't be in this if it wasn't for the love we have for these animals. And when you see something like this, how can't you can't help but love what you're doing and see the results.
Every farmer in BC, whether they run a cage facility, free run, free range, or organic, is going to do the best with their hens as they can. The health and welfare of the birds is paramount, and when they are inside a caged environment, the stress level is greatly reduced, and that reduced stress really helps the birds to do what they are meant to do, and that's to produce eggs.
I think it's in everyone's interest that the industry be efficient producer of top quality food products. Everyone is interested in that. In that respect, I think all operators that I've been familiar with make every effort to minimize disease issues, maximize the quality of the eggs that are being produced, and they're very proud of what they produce. I think the quality of Canadian-produced eggs and egg products is first rate.
Regardless of the housing and feed practices, egg farmers are required to follow national on-farm food safety and animal care standards, and they adhere to the recommended code of practice, which was established by veterinarians, scientists, the Canadian Federation of Humane Societies, the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, and egg farmers.
We control their feed. What you see right there is a scale. They're weighed every day, and we try and keep it within a range that they don't get too heavy, but also that they're not light.
This is computerization that takes care of everything to keep a bird comfortable. Feed, light, air, water, it's all done, and it creates literally the perfect environment for birds.
A lot of consumers still ask us, how do your birds produce so many eggs? What kind of hormones or antibiotics are you giving them? None. They don't need it. When you have a bird that's in a hygienic environment like the cage, you don't need antibiotics because they don't get sick from pecking at their own feces.
The basic things are keeping our flocks separate from any contaminants that might be bringing in a disease. With our flocks being entirely housed inside, when we go inside, we completely change out of our outside clothes into just inside clothes. When it becomes a free-range facility, that becomes a whole different ball game. It becomes much more difficult to manage that because, let's face it, the birds are going outside and now they are being completely exposed to natural predators.
We have eagles that come in, every swoop down, grab birds once in a while. We've got to watch the coyotes that want to jump underneath the fences.
I had the opportunity to visit one of the largest producers of free-range eggs in the UK. The birds voluntarily choose to spend the majority of their time in the controlled environment, and at any given time only a minority of birds would actually be in the free-range situation. So under those circumstances, it would appear that the birds are finding the controlled environment advantageous.
What we do know about chickens is they love to be together, and they actually like to be a lot closer together than most of us would believe. And when you start to spread them out more, they become a lot more listless. Mortality is much lower. Production is much greater in the cage facility.
We look for factors like how much feed are they consuming, how many days off are they taking, what's their mortality rate. And when you look at a cage white hen, she produces the most number of eggs on the least amount of feed and has the lowest mortality rate out of any other egg production system.
Some of the challenges that we have with free-range farming versus a cage is obviously our birds are loose housed. So with that, we have to be careful to give our birds extra care and watch out for things like hen aggression.
When you go to a large free-range, free-run system, you have dominant hens, less dominant, and there's a huge middle, and they fight and battle, and they want to be top dog. In the cage environment, they're in a group of 4 to 7 birds. The hierarchy gets set up very quickly, and there's no way that the pecking gets to that scale.
There's a distinct sound your chickens make when they're happy. And when they're happy, you can hear it in the birds. When I walk in a cage barn, I hear that same sound as I do in my free-range buildings.
If I go to either barn, and I do in the mornings when I walk through the free-run barn, it's neat to see them walking around, no question. And then I go to my cage barn and I listen to them. They're a happy bunch of birds, very happy and very healthy, very healthy.
In order to have a sustainable egg production industry, we need to balance the welfare of chickens with the economics of producing affordable food and bird health and food safety concerns. When one of these factors is given greater consideration, the balance of the industry is upset. It is important that our food supply remains safe, that chickens and other farm animals are treated in a humane way, and that consumers continue to have affordable food and continue to have choice.
If there was a law passed that we would not have any more cage production in British Columbia, we would not have enough land to go to the cage-free production.
We would need another 4,500 acres of land. The Fraser Valley doesn't have that kind of land, and I'm not sure British Columbia has that kind of land.
It would be devastating to our industry, and it would be devastating to the consumer, knowing that when they walk up to that aisle of eggs, the choice is gone.
We know what our farmers do. We know how they care with their flocks, how they in fact run their farms. We know that they're absolutely focused on disease-free production. These are things that characterize our farmers.
Today, consumers are very fortunate. They have a choice when they go in the grocery store. They can buy free-range, organic, free-run, classic cage white eggs, but they need to know when they're buying eggs, the birds have been raised under the strictest animal care, and they're getting a safe, healthy, nutritious product that they can serve to their family.
Because there's a lot of consumers who want a cage white egg because it's a staple. You need something that is at the lowest cost, and that's what we're providing for them.
We have to give the consumer a choice, and that's what we're doing.